Reflectors. Reflectors are the rarest type in human design, only about 1% of the population. So if you're a reflector or you have a reflector child, you truly are unique. In human design, they're sometimes called unicorns for a very good reason. What makes reflectors so different is that they have no defined centers at all. Every single center in their chart is open, everyone, which means they're completely open to the energy of everyone and everything around them. They take it in, they sample it, they feel it, and then reflect it back. They are the ultimate mirror. In the house building analogy, reflectors are the interior designer. They're the ones who take into account what everyone needs. They feel into the space. They understand what's missing. They see the whole picture from the perspective that nobody else has because they're feeling all of it. Reflectors are also what we call lunar beings. They are deeply connected to the moon. As the moon moves through its 28-day cycle, it activates different gates and energies in the reflector's chart. This means a reflector can literally feel the difference from one day to the next. More energetic one day, more emotional another, more assertive on another. That's not inconsistency. That's the lunar cycle moving through them. Their strategy waiting for a lunar cycle. The reflector strategy is to wait a lunar cycle before making big decisions, and I know that sounds extreme in a world that demands instant answers, but here's why it makes sense. Reflectors feel different energies activated throughout the month. A decision that feels right on day 3 might feel completely wrong on day 15, and both feelings are real. So waiting through the full cycle allows a reflector to experience a decision from all those different perspectives before committing. Now, that doesn't mean they need to wait 28 days for every single decision. As they practice and get to know their own cycle, they'll soon start to recognize patterns. They might find that clarity comes consistently after about 11 days, or they may know their own rhythm well enough to commit sooner. It's all about connecting with the cycle and finding their own pattern within it. Reflectors don't have any motor centers defined, which means that access to energy ebbs and flows with the cycle. So planning life and work around the waxing and waning is really important. Don't force yourself through low energy phases. Plan the intense work for when the energy's there and rest when it's not. The signature and not self. When a reflector is in the right environment, the right people connected to their cycle, their signature is surprise. Life delights them. They're surprised by what shows up and by what they feel and the richness of experiences. There's a sense of wonder about being alive. When they're in the wrong environment, surrounded by energy that just doesn't feel right, in places that drain them, with people that aren't aligned, they feel disappointment. And for a reflector, disappointment is the signal that something in their surroundings needs to change. Not themselves, their surroundings. This is important because reflectors can easily lose themselves in other people's energy because they're taking in everything. They can start to identify with the emotions and energies of others and start thinking it's their own. Creating space, alone time, time in nature, where it's nice and quiet, is essential for them to reconnect with what actually belongs to them. Conditioning patterns. The biggest conditioning for reflectors is being told to act like everyone else, to make quick decisions, to have consistent energy, to know who they are, what they want at all times. But none of this is in their design. Reflectors are ultimately chameleons. They become whoever they're around, and while that's a gift, it gives them an extraordinary ability to understand and reflect others. It can also mean they lose themselves completely. The conditioning is to identify as everyone else rather than themselves. There's a deep lack of trust in the process. The world demands action. Just decide. Stop overthinking. But for a reflector, waiting isn't overthinking. It's their strategy. And embracing what it means to be a reflector is a journey in itself and requires compassion and patience. Reflectors are also truth tellers. They reflect back to communities and groups how things are. They can see what's healthy and what isn't because they're feeling all of it, and their role, the sage at the heart of the tribe, is incredibly valuable, even if it doesn't always feel comfortable. Reflector children. If you have a reflector child, the single most important thing to understand is that their environment matters more than anything else. The people they're around, the school they're in, the home they live in, the energy of the spaces they spend their time in, all of that affects a reflector child more profoundly than any other type. They may seem to change personality depending on who they're with. At school, they might be one way, at home another. With certain friends, different again. That's not them being inconsistent or fake. That's actually their design. They're reflecting back the energy of whoever they're around. So if you notice a shift in behavior, look at who they're spending time with or what environment they've been in. They need alone time, and I mean real alone time. No screen time, not being in a room full of stimulation. Time in nature is especially powerful for reflectors because it gives them that natural energy to reset with. Without that space, they can't distinguish between what's theirs and what they've absorbed from everyone else, and that becomes overwhelming. Don't rush their decisions. If they can't decide about something, they're not avoiding, yet they genuinely need time to feel through it. Don't rush their decisions. If they can't decide about something, that's not avoidance. They genuinely need time to feel through it. And if you push them to decide before they're ready, they'll often make a choice that doesn't actually feel right once they've had more time. If you see disappointment or withdrawal, look at the environment first. Is something in their surroundings off? Is the school the right fit? Are the friendships nourishing them? For reflector children, the environment is always the answer. When the environment is right, they are some of the most delightful, surprising, insightful children you've ever met. They see things that nobody else sees, and they reflect back to you as a parent how your family is really doing. That is their gift.